morning. It's Monday, February 5th, solidly into February here. Thanks for joining us on Up to the Minute, where we are live on HCC TV, and we're going to be bringing you some news, information, and announcements. I'm Dr. Amy Tan, Dean of HCC's English and Communications, and I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Nicholas Cox, History Department Chair. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. It was a little bit chillier than I expected when I saw 57. I don't know. Did you experience that?
Yeah, it's not as wet as it was on the Saturday, I guess, so it's an improvement, but it was colder than I expected as well.
Yeah, it wasn't a warm and humid 57. But we are live on HCC TV, but if you want to catch our show later, there's other ways to find us.
Yeah, that's right, Amy. We are live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCC TV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Excellent. And so today is Mental Health Monday, and we are happy to welcome a different Jung Center guest than our usual visitor. In this month of love, we're welcoming Dr. Anne Friedman, Director of Curriculum, Mind, Body, Spirit Institute, the Jung Center of Houston. She's going to talk to us about acts of kindness. Good morning, Dr. Friedman.
Thank you, Amy. Glad to be here. Good morning to you.
And if you'll just hang on for 1 minute, then Dr. Cox will be right back to talk to you. Excellent. First, we're spotlighting Coleman College and its pharmacy technician program, Janet Pena, pharmacy technician program director at HCC Coleman College. Welcome back to the show, Janet. Oh, I think you're muted. I do that all the time, by the way.
There I go.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear more about our pharmacy tech program. Should we start with the definition? What is a pharmacy technician?
So basically, a pharmacy technician provides technical services. And so their job is to work under the supervision of a pharmacist. They're like the pharmacist's right-hand man. So they do all the work and they assist in every way they can. They just don't have any they can verify orders. They can make any medical advice for patients, but they do fill everything and do everything.
So you're telling us a little bit about what the job entails. Can you expand a little bit? So they actually do count out the pills, they pull the medication from the charts, they put them in the bag and have it all ready?
They do quite a bit depending on the pharmacy setting that they work in, but they do anything from filling medications to compounding sterile to non-sterile medications, repackaging. They work a lot with technology, automated dispensing systems. They also distribute medications. So they stay pretty busy.
And that's fascinating because I know, your medication comes to you in a bottle with a label, but that's not necessarily how it's sitting on the shelf. And it sounds like that we've already adapted like artificial intelligence and computing systems into pharmacy tech.
Oh, yes. The pharmacy technician has to be very knowledgeable with the technology that they use because they're the ones that, work with it mostly. So they have to know the robotics. There's a lot of robotics. And depending on the pharmacy setting, like I said, I mean, most people will only, they would think that pharmacy technicians just count pills. But in reality, if you go to a pharmacy in a hospital, it's behind the scenes, but there's so much other things going on. So they do work with pharmaceuticals that require intravenous sterile compounding. So that's a big one. Their job entails having a lot of knowledge and pharmaceutical calculations. They do a lot of critical thinking because their job is to look up information, to discern that information, to translate it, and then to do what they need to do to complete or fill those orders that they're working with. Of course, everything leaves the pharmacy after the pharmacist verifies all those orders, but they do the bulk of the work.
So necessary skills include some very specific hands-on skills. And I heard you say critical thinking. Are there other necessary skills that you would add to that for our students to be successful in the field?
Well, early on, even before we accept any students into the program, we do the information sessions, and we stress that they really need to understand that in a pharmacy, there's a lot of standing, and you have to be willing to stand all day. You have to, make sure that what you're doing, you have a lot of detail in your work. Definitely math skills are very important because we calculate all the doses. We also even tell them, to understand that they do a lot of the restocking, a lot of the deliveries. So they have to be able to lift up to 50 pounds. And so that's kind of a big one for them. And they have to have a lot of dexterity in their hands because, when you're talking about sterile compounding, you have to use the needles, syringes. And so, they have to be able to work with different supplies. And detail is very important in a pharmacy technician.
Very complicated. Lots of different diverse skills. So we at HCC Coleman offer some degrees and certificates. So what can a student who is interested in pharmacy technician, what can we do for them?
So for our program, we offer them to finish with a certificate level 2, which means that when they graduate from the program, they can work in a hospital setting or anywhere where they compound sterile preparations, which that's a big specialization and skill. I want to say that's where the money is, right? But we also offer, with that certificate level 2, they can finish with their associates in allied health. We do offer a certificate level 1, which is called an OSA, Occupational Skills Award. We really don't get a lot of students to apply for it. That's why we really don't have any classes for it. And so the difference in that one is that with a certificate level 2, and of course the associates, students can pay for their tuition and books with financial aid. But the OSA, they have to pay out of pocket because it's a level 1.
Okay, and so you talked a little bit about, of course, we're thinking drive through pharmacy, pick up my prescription, but there are other employment opportunities for our students. And how much does our location in the Med Center help?
Well, it's great, that Coleman for Health Sciences is located in the medical center. It's a great place to be. Many of the hospitals and partnerships that we have, they're located in the medical center. But I mean, honestly, we have hospitals throughout the Houston area. So we work with all the Hermans, we work with all the Methodists, we work with the HCAs. So there's a lot of opportunity for students to go anywhere in the Houston area. So it's important that we were able to provide that because, we have people coming in, students coming in from all parts of Houston. And so we have to be able to provide those services for them.
And what does the current job market look like in the next few years?
Really, after the pandemic, the demand is still high. So in Texas, I mean, there's still a big need to fill jobs. And so we that's the beauty of our program, that we're able to send our students out to internships, and that's the last semesters. We have 3 semesters, and the last semesters they go out there and work in a hospital, work in a home care pharmacy, and they also work in a community pharmacy, retail pharmacy. So they get to, our partners get to know their skills, how they work. They're very well trained because our laboratories, we have a lot of technology in our laboratories. The ID certification that students receive, they receive it because there's one class that gives them all the training, and we train them in everything. So our students are very marketable. Honestly, they want to hire them. They want to hire them. They're ready to work. And so it's a good partnership. It's a win-win. And like I said, the demand is high. So, hospitals and many pharmacies are scrambling to hire individuals in this field.
And we're just so proud of the students who come out of our program and are ready to go to work. Thank you so much, Janet Pena, Program Director, Pharmacy Technician Program at HCC Coleman College for Health Sciences. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too. And we'll have all your information on our post after the show, and students can go there to learn more about the program and the requirements. Moving on to Nick.
Thank you.
All right, thank you both. We are now going to move to talk to Dr. Ann Friedman, the Director of Curriculum for the Mind, Body, Spirit Institute of the Jung Center of Houston. Welcome to the show, Dr. Friedman.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So February, it's associated with romantic love. We think about Valentine's Day, but you're here today to talk a little bit about other forms of love as well. What could that be?
Yeah, so what we know through science is that we mostly have love for those closest to us, our blood relatives in general, although not always, and people who are in our inner circle of friends. And what we do with mindfulness and the teachings that we do at the Mind, Body, Spirit Institute is help people expand that group. And it's important for a lot of different reasons. So one of the reasons it is very important is that most of the time our stress is induced from other people. We are messy creatures, and we have interactions that are often messy. And then we're all upset about things. And when that happens, adrenaline, cortisol are pumping in the body. And when we get that chemical stew and it's not processed, it actually contributes to heart disease, diabetes, all sorts of things that are problematic. So it's important from a physiological standpoint that we learn to be more accepting and caring, loving of other people.
Well, if the love from family and friends can help with your physical or mental health, then certainly we should be mindful of all of that. What about pets?
Yes. So loving kindness and compassion are innate in human beings. They're also innate in animals. So you'll see chimps, for example, hugging each other. And we also know that can be cultivated. So there are even pictures of, a cub, a lion cub hugging another species, or a chimp hugging a chicken. So that we can expand our ability and cultivate more loving kindness and compassion, which benefits us and the world.
Well, one thing we can do is kind of take it beyond ourselves and think about how to cultivate love and empathy and compassion for people outside of our close group. How do we do that?
Yeah, so it's a training, and people like Albert Einstein talked about the need for this. People, even Charles Darwin talked about the need for this. People think he talked about survival of the species, be tough, be tough. No, he talked about the need for us to expand our empathy and abilities to care about others beyond those closest to us. So it's a practice, and we usually start with someone neutral. And that is a person that it could be somebody at the gas station or a grocery store clerk, someone in your office building, someone that you don't really have strong feelings for. But we can begin to imagine them and imagine that they, like us, wish to be happy and to avoid suffering. They're wanting safety and good health and happiness and peace of mind, just like we do. And so we imagine them in our minds, sending them wishes. It sounds a little crazy, but it honestly works. And what happens is next time we see that person, we actually feel more akin with them. So it's a building of this loving kindness, beginning with the neutral.
Well, now you mentioned Charles Darwin, and I'd like you to share a quote from Darwin with us in just a moment. But for historians, we often talk about social Darwinism as being a kind of underlying value system in which competition creates progress and efficiency and development. But I guess what you're suggesting is that Darwin also said that collaboration and communitarian efforts can help societies thrive as well. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely, Nick. So his actual quote, and unfortunately I don't know it by heart, is as man advances in civilization and small tribes are united into larger communities, the simplest reason will tell each individual that he ought to extend his social instincts and sympathies to all the members of the same nation, though personally unknown to him. This point being, once reached, there is only an artificial barrier to prevent his sympathies extending to the men of all nations and races. Our sympathies become more tender and more wildly diffused until they are extended to all sentient beings. And why does he think this important? Probably for the same reason that Milton Friedman, the economist, talked about the pencil experiment or idea. So we think we are so independent, but in fact, we are very interdependent. So Milton Friedman talked about the fact that no person could make a pencil. The wood probably comes from the state of Washington. It took a saw to cut the tree. The tree was probably, the saw was created from iron and steel, and those came from other places. The graphite in the pencil was probably from South Africa. The rubber at the tip, maybe from Malaysia. The metal underneath this, he didn't even know where it was, or the paint and the glue that held all this together. It takes thousands of people to make a pencil. It takes thousands of people to make the clothes you're wearing. That doesn't even count the shipping that we have to deal with, or the transportation to get it places, the stores. Thousands and thousands of people. We need everyone.
Well, it is a really great to be reminded that we are also interconnected and that we can kind of consciously project our empathy and our love outward to people, even if they're distant from us. It's the interconnectedness of us all. It's really valuable to be reminded. So tell me, what's coming up at the Jung Center? What are some events that are happening in town soon?
Yeah, so the Jung Center teaches mindfulness, and we also have free guided meditations every single week. And all you need to do is contact the Jung Center and ask to be put on the meditation list. You'll get an announcement. And again, they're 15 minutes long, and you can learn different practices. We have Anne Lamott coming up as our major speaker for our gala. That is Tuesday, February 27th at 6 o'clock at the River Oaks Country Club, and you can get tickets online. And finally, Lee Coffey is going to be teaching laughter yoga on Thursday, February 29th from noon to 1. So if you have time on your lunch break, it's a great mindfulness practice, laughter yoga.
No, that's wonderful. We'll have a lot of information about these events on our post after the show, but I'll just say one of the things I really like about interviewing folks from the Jung Center is learning about these upcoming events. About 10 or 15 years ago, Anne Lamott had a best-selling novel, Little Birds, and a really great, I guess, guided book on how to be a writer, Bird by Bird, a really great little book. And I had no idea she was coming to town. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, she's a well-published author of both fiction and nonfiction.
I confess I have not kept up since Bird by Bird came out probably 15 years ago, 10 years ago, but it's great that she'll be in town. And like I said, we'll have information on our posts about these events after the show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Dr. Ann Friedman, the Director of Curriculum, Mind, Body, Spirit Institute of the Jung Center, and our Mental Health Monday guest. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. You too. Bye-bye.
Sorry, see, I did it too. I didn't unmute. Thank you for that lovely interview, Dr. Friedman and Dr. Cox. And Nick, we have some news, events, and announcements to share with everyone. Go ahead.
Oh, I was good. Sorry. The first is we have free haircuts and cosmetology services. The HCC Barber Program is offering free haircuts at HCC Central, while Cosmetology is offering free services at Eastside and Northline campuses. If you'd like a free haircut, go to HCC Central Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 to 1:30 p.m. Cosmetology services at Eastside and Northline are from 9 a.m. to noon on Tuesdays. Check our post after the show for more information.
A wonderful service to the community from our programs. So all about engineering. Houston is one of the largest employers of engineers in the world as a leader in petroleum, chemical, mechanical, civil, electrical, biomedical, aerospace, and ocean engineering disciplines. HCC partners with UT Tyler, Texas A&M, Chevron, and our own HCC Engineering Academy to provide easy access to these pathways. Learn more about the programs available to our students at this info session. The info session will be from 6 to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, February 7th. It will be virtual, so anyone can attend. The last virtual session had 275 attendees. So be sure to check our post after the show for more information on student registration.
No, that sounds wonderful. And HCC has a lot going on. We also have adult CPR and pediatric first aid classes. These are run by HCC's Community Learning Program. We're going to host these in-person sessions on 3 consecutive Wednesdays in February. Classes are just $45 and students are required to attend all 3. But then you can learn CPR and non-healthcare AED. Those are Wednesdays, February 7th, 14th, and 21st at the Marshall Center for Advanced Careers. Check our post after the show for more information.
Those AEDs are so important to know how to operate, and they're supposed to be easy, but it really helps if you have an idea what you're doing. We also have a recital coming up, a vocal and piano recital, Locascio, Clay, and Fenton. This recital features the works by Adam Vincent Clay and Joe Locascio, as well as HCC vocal professor Francis Fenton. That's going to be 7:30 p.m. on Friday, February 9th at our HCC Southwest Fine Arts Center. It's a free event. You do not need to register. Everyone is welcome. So please join us and check the post after the show for more information.
And we have another art exhibit. This is a 2-person art exhibit involving Catherine Trimble and Brock Gordon. It is a nod to the world of food service and the division between the front of the house, a cozy, inviting area welcoming to guests, and the back of the house, the chaotic and ever-changing space. This is now through April 5th, HCC Central's Fine Arts Gallery. The artist reception will be Thursday, March 28th, 6 p.m. It is free, registration is not necessary, and everyone is welcome. Check our post after the show for more information.
And Second Start is coming up. Classes are going to begin soon. This is our 14-week sessions. They will begin on February 12th. All of our courses are either in person, online, or hybrid. You can sign up for our online anytime classes that don't have any established meeting times unless listed. We also have online on a schedule where you get a little bit of virtual face-to-face. Well, it's it is a full course face to face with your professor. So it's online though. We have hybrid courses. These are lecture classes that meet partially face-to-face and partially virtually. We have in-person face-to-face courses with traditional meeting patterns at our various campus locations throughout the city. And we have our hybrid lab, which are our lab studio courses. To learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options to cover costs, visit hccs.edu/apply. Thanks so much for joining me today, Nick Cox.
I had a wonderful time, as always.
Yeah, our regular Monday morning co-host. Coming up for Tasty Tuesday, we'll welcome a Montrose institution since the 1980s, La Mexicana. And HCC's Outreach, Recruitment, and Enrollment Director will be here to talk about the virtual info sessions and new virtual tours. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.